Okay, so today is finally the day that we've decided that we want to share what's going on with our baby. We've had this information for about a week and a half now. Yeah, our dog's in here. For about a week and a half now.
Almost 2 weeks, yeah.
Yeah, almost 2 weeks. And we've been meaning to tell everybody, all of our family and close friends know what's going on, but we haven't gotten to the point where we can actually talk about what's going on until now without crying. So about a week ago, or a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, I had an ultrasound at 19 weeks, and it was just a full anatomy ultrasound. I guess they wanted to fully go over the baby and check everything. Sit down. Sit down.
Come here, I'm gonna put him on deck.
Okay. He's just like moving around. Okay. Okay, so I had a full ultrasound, and we went in, you know, thinking everything was gonna be okay. And at first the ultrasound was fine, everything was going great. The lady was laughing with us, the baby was moving the entire time. And then all of a sudden she was like, I'm gonna go get the doctor just to make sure that he doesn't want any more images, or if he doesn't want to look at anything himself. And so she printed us out a whole bunch of pictures of him, and we were looking at them, and I was deciding which one I was going to post that day on Facebook. And I looked at Tyler and I was like, does it make you nervous that she went to go get the doctor?
And see, I didn't think anything of it because I thought, you know, that she's just going to make sure that her job's done because the doctor is the one that needs all the ultrasound pictures. So I didn't think anything of it, but Brianna did, and that's kind of where...
And I was just like, it just makes me a little nervous that she's going to get the doctor. So she came back with the doctor probably like 15 minutes later. So we were waiting, and I was just anxious the entire time. And she came back with the doctor, and he came in. He was like, hi, I'm Dr. this and this, and I'm just going to take a look and see what's going on. And so
and it was just like
boom, it was
quiet.
like went from happy to like something is going on, seriously
super
wrong.
quiet.
So he came in, and he, you know, put the ultrasound probe on my stomach, and he started looking, and he was like pushing really hard, and I was like, oh my gosh, like something's going on. So we were just quiet.
Everything was just quiet. And after about 10 minutes, I was just like, so I gotta ask, is something wrong?
Yeah, he did, because it was just so quiet in there, and so we knew something was wrong. And I'm so glad he said that, because I wanted to say it, but I didn't. And Tyler just went, I have to ask you, is something wrong? And
because the vibe just went serious. Like it just. Like it was just.
No,
like,
I told you we were laughing with
yeah,
the lady
it was just
first.
a regular day, and then all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, when he came in and he starts, you know, putting that probe on you, all of a sudden it just went boom, serious, and it was just like tension everywhere.
And I don't remember what he said. What he answered.
He said, "So we're not exactly sure, but I think I see something abnormal."
Okay, so and we're like, what is abnormal? Like he has 10 fingers, 10 toes. 2 arms, 2 legs, eyes, nose, ears. We've seen everything.
Everything was looking good.
So then he starts looking and looking and looking, and he's just quiet and just looking and looking. Me and Tyler just like, and Tyler's legs are just going, and I hate when he does that. It gives me more anxiety. But so all of a sudden he was like, okay, I've seen what I need to see. I'm gonna go ahead and have you guys go in the waiting room and then come back into my office, and then I'll call you in the office when I'm ready.
At this point,
so we're like, what the heck is going on? So we go into the waiting room, and we're just like freaking out. And then the doctor's like, go ahead and come back in here to my office. So he comes into so we go into his office, and he's like, so I've noticed that the baby has a space in the back of his brain. And he pointed to like back here in the back of his brain. He said there's a space in the back of his brain, and it's abnormal, and it's not supposed to be there. And we were like, what? Like completely like, okay,
nothing was making sense.
But the doctor was so frazzled. He was like, you know, I've never seen this before. This is very abnormal. This is not.
He said the first time he's ever seen it. The only other time he's ever seen this was back in fellowship.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know, that's when he's training to be a doctor. That's when in the beginning of his career set.
Yeah, so he said there's a space in the back of his brain, and it looks like there's something in there, like a fluid or something. And then he said there's also a white calcification, which is like pebble size, is what he's saying.
Could be a cyst.
Yeah, so we're like, oh my gosh, what's going on? And he's like, I think it'd be better if we did like a vaginal ultrasound because the baby's head is down and I'll be able to see more of what it is. So we go back, this is all the same day, we go back into the ultrasound room, and then he gets in there with the vaginal one, and then after he's done looking, he takes it out and he's like, just quiet again. And I'm like, okay, so did it go away or is it still there? And he's like, unfortunately, it's still there. And like he said,
it's real. This is real.
He's like, this is real. And when he said this is real, like, we were both just freaking out, just silent and numb feeling is how we felt. And he said, you know, it could be anything. He said, I'm not sure what it is. And so he said, I'm going to recommend that you guys go see a fetal specialist. So he said, but all I can tell you is that it's a space in the back of his brain with some kind of fluid, and there's a pebble, like a white pebble thing. And so me and Tyler leave, and we're just completely
shocked.
Yeah.
Because when he was talking to us about everything, he mentioned termination 3 times.
Yeah, he did. We were in there, and he was like, you know, you can terminate in the state of Texas up to 22 weeks. And I'm like, I didn't even know we were at termination.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't even know that.
The range that he gave us was a ultrasound image deficiency or possible termination. That's a huge range.
Yeah,
he didn't really narrow anything down at that point.
He said cyst at that point. He said, it looks like the baby has a cyst and maybe some bleeding in his brain. And so we're like, okay, so when can we see the specialist? And he's like, I'll give you a call later on after I call people and figure out stuff. So me and Tyler go home just crying the rest of the day, completely, like, they let him off work because we just are completely frazzled. Like, just the pregnancy went from exciting and fun to terrifying, and we might not get to have this baby in like literally 2 minutes. So later that night, the doctor calls me back, and he said, I've talked to people at this hospital that I want you to go see. It's 30 minutes from where you guys live, and it's a specialist, and he can be able to tell you guys more of what's going on. And we were like, okay. And I was like, so what are you thinking? You know, what are you thinking? And he said, it could be chromosomal, meaning the baby could have some kind of chromosomal abnormality, like Down syndrome or something like that, or something like neurosurgical that the baby would have to have removed after he's born, or what was the third thing? There was a third thing. I can't remember the third thing now. So anyway, we waited, and me and Tyler were just going crazy the entire time. And I emailed the doctor the next day, and I was like, you need to get us an appointment soon with this specialist because we're not able to handle anything.
We're not functioning. Right now. We're not being able to do anything. It was very hard. I couldn't
couple
work.
Of days.
I was out of work, and you know, thankfully, the leadership that's above me, they saw that and they cared for me, and they allowed me to, you know, go at my own pace, take the time that I needed, and they even let me off work early just to spend time with my wife and be there for her so we could be there for each other. But
yeah, and so he emailed me back and he said, or he called me that day, and he was like, I'm going to go ahead and call and push through so that we can get you an appointment with a specialist. So we had to wait a weekend, and then we went on a Monday to the specialist in the afternoon. And we go and we wait another, like, how long were we in the waiting room? Like 45 minutes in the waiting room.
Yeah.
And then we get in there, and the ultrasound technician lady comes in, and she's looking at my stomach and does like an hour-long ultrasound. Then the doctor
full
comes
anatomy
in.
Ultrasound.
Then the doctor comes in, and he does his own long ultrasound, and it's just like silent in the room the entire time. Just horrible. Like, we're like, look, you're a specialist. Like, tell us what's going on.
Right.
So he looks, and then he's like, okay, I'm almost done, and then we'll chat, and I'll tell you guys what I think's going on. So we wait, and then like 30 more minutes go by, and finally he's like, okay, so here's what I think it is. He said, I think your baby either has one of 3 things. He said the baby has either a tumor and a little bit of a bleed. That's where that space is. Baby has a blood clot with the little bit of a bleed, or a disorder, like a blood condition, and they called it, the short term for it is NATE, and I'll like put the word here so y'all can see it. It's like called neonatal alloimmune thrombocytopenia, and that happens after a mother has had a baby already, which I've had Caden, and it's kind of like my body is attacking the baby's body, causing him to bleed, which he said is extremely rare, and he's dealt with it before, but it's extremely rare. And so me and Tyler left, and he was like, or before we left, the doctor said, the only way we're going to be able to tell for sure what it is we have to do a fetal MRI. And so I'm like, okay, when can we do that? And they're like, we can't do that till you're 22 weeks. So this was 20 weeks when this was all happening. I'm 21 weeks today. And so 22 weeks, we're going to have this fetal MRI and see what is for sure going on. So we left, and I think Tyler was still feeling really hopeful before we went in there. So it kind of hit you hard.
Mm-hmm.
When he heard that, it hit him harder than it did
The only
me.
positive thing I saw out of that was that it was narrowed down to what it could or could not be. But I don't know. It just hurt.
It hit him hard. And I think with me, I already kind of knew something was wrong. Like, from the first doctor's appointment, that's when I had already had my shutdown. You know, crying in the bed, not being able to function. I took Caden to school, and I would come home, and that's it. And Tyler would have to pick up McDonald's or something, because it was just hard for me the beginning. But the second part, when we saw the specialist, that's when it really hit Tyler hard. And so we called all our family, told all of our family. The doctor said he doesn't think it's chromosomal, like he doesn't think that this increases the baby's chance for having Down syndrome. Then I did another lab test that tested 5 other chromosomal abnormalities, and everything came back normal
and
for that.
And you tested for Down syndrome or any other
all that
mental...
before, everything.
Yeah, and nothing came back that way. Everything came back positive. Yeah. So it's that kind of like, in our heads, like what we're analyzing with everything going on, we kind of think it's one of two things: tumor, a blood clot, or
the NAIT is what they call it, N-A-I-T.
So one of 3 things. Sorry.
Yeah, we've talked to Caden about what's going on. I just told him that his brother has a boo-boo on his brain, and he kind of understands, but he still thinks everything's going to be normal, which is normal for a 4-year-old,
right?
But with us right now, it's been very hard for us to be excited about anything, be happy about anything, especially with Christmas right now. We're kind of in a slump, because honestly, we don't know if this is going to kill our baby or if we're going to get to keep him. They said anything in the brain most of the time is going to cause some kind of mental deficit or physical deficit. We don't know if he's going to have surgery right when he's born. You know, it's going to change everything. He's not going to be born at a normal hospital.
There's going to be like 8 or 9 specialists there waiting.
Probably. We have no idea at this
point.
But
with all this going on, you know, I've seeked out help in my own personal way. Regardless of, you know, the things that are going on, I still had to do what I had to do to compose myself to be able to provide for the family. Brianna, it's probably the strongest woman I've ever met and been in the presence with. She has held me together, and I've had to find a deeper evaluation into faith. And so I visited my chaplain here in my unit, and he gave me some really big advice on stuff that I thought my whole life was this, and come to find out it's this. So it went way more in depth than just this traumatic news, and it gave me hope. And
so all we're asking right now is, you know,
support us
and pray for the baby. You know,
we don't need nothing. We're not asking for anything. We just want a normal baby, normal life, and that's it.
Yeah. So I'm not going to be vlogging as much as I have been in the past. It's hard for me to be happy right now or do anything happy because I'm constantly worried. We've
contemplated recording this and, you know,
it's just taken a while.
It's taken a while, and by the time Brianna was ready to do it, I didn't want to do it. I've told her 5 or 6 times this weekend that I didn't want to do it.
But if our story can reach out to somebody
who knows more information,
you know, that's somebody that's gone through something that I said. Like I said, we don't know for sure what's going on with him, but you know, if this resonates with somebody else and they can
give us a little bit more insight, support. Yeah. If this reaches to you and you've been through this share it with us. You know, let us know. Like, we're all for hearing stories, because the majority of the stories that we hear now are people that are saying, "Oh yeah, I know what you mean," but they've never actually gone through this, so they don't know what we mean. And we're just looking for that light at the end of the tunnel. Just trying to stay positive and keep it out of our heads. So
we'll keep everyone updated. You know, like I said, I should be having the MRI either at the end of this week or next week. So by then, they said they're acting like the MRI is the holy grail. So after we have the MRI, I think we'll know more of what the future is going to be like. But all we ask is that you guys please pray for us and pray for baby Jackson and for Caden and just our whole family, because we're all hurting right now. All of us are very scared. We just want him to survive at this point. Just to survive.
And we appreciate y'all for watching, and who've been watching and continue to watch, and just keep showing that same support. We love y'all. Thank y'all.